Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Western Roman Empire campaign for Total War Attila. The last episode was a slow start, as it was expected to be with the Western Romans, given we had a lot of things to do, and as a result, we spent the entire episode just going through the first two turns. But hopefully things are going to get a bit quicker as we start even not worrying so much about building up settlements and being able to actually start fighting some battles. Now, before we get started with the episode, I just want to take a moment and thank everyone for their warm welcome for that previous episode. I'm still trying to get it back into the swing of recording, and hopefully as time goes on I'll be able to start making more content, but I just wanted to thank everyone for their warm welcome and the nice words and the comments saying about things, especially as I am a bit concerned about commentary and that as I try and get back into the swing of things, so thank you very much. Also, as was picked up by a couple of people of the last episode, I am happy to receive names for our legions. So, going through the comments, I decided to go with two initially. So, over here near Duocatorum, we've now got the 6th Legion, the Macedonia, named after Anderund Bacala, who pointed out that the Macedonian Legion was pretty much the longest serving legion in Roman history. So, they are now represented fully on the map. And over here in the Balkans, here it is, up in Savaria, we've now got the 1st Legion, the Castellum, which was a name submitted by Eben Maynard, which loosely translates to fortress. Now, given that these guys are going to be sort of responsible for trying to hold on to the territory around here, I thought it was a pretty fitting name, so thank you very much. If you'd like to submit any other names for everyone else watching, feel free to do so in the comments. I will make a list and add them to the game as required. Now that I've spoken for about 2 minutes, let's actually get into some gameplay. Guys, I need to work on the starting parts of the video, don't I? Anyway, we've got a bit of money now coming in. We've got over 11,000 every turn, and we've got some coming in thanks to us demolishing a bunch of buildings. So now what I want to do is start building up some of the legions we do have available to us, just to bolster them a bit to make sure that we've got a good fortress, a good, army to be able to defend some of our territories, especially as we're going to be working alongside the guardhouses as I build them. So in fact, if we pop onto here, just want to double check, what did I actually build here? Nothing regarding forts apart from over here in Sopane. You know what, do I want to get rid of the furs? We haven't really got the space right now otherwise. I mean, I could get rid of this I'm thinking about. You know what, we're going to do exactly that. We're going to switch over to a waterworks, we're going to demolish this, and next turn we'll be able to build a guardhouse here instead. So that's you. In the meantime, let's switch over you guys. What can we recruit? We could get our hands on some Steppe Levy. These guys aren't that bad. I mean, they're cheap, considering that these guys are 200 and this is 95. You know what? Let's bolster the fortress. I got fortress on the brain now, thanks to talking about Castellum here. But we'll recruit some of these and bolster them with a few Nordic spears as well. And I think that's going to be our main tactic right now. We'll come back to you shortly. And you. Okay, you, good sir, can be upgraded too. And in terms of recruitment, that's mercenaries. What can we get here? Germanic levies. These guys aren't really good. We'll leave them. Instead, we'll grab some more of you and one of you. And basically, I think I'm going to go for a similar upgrade for all my units because, well, we're lacking right now. So you can have that. Oh, you can recruit more. Where are you? You're in... Right, you're in Maximus Equanum, which is where we're going to be using as recruitment. So, what do we have? We have Sagatari, Leva Samate. These guys are quite good when you get them in a good position. The Limitane Magister Militum. Lower health, excellent armor, piercing damage, and excellent armor. Interesting. And we got these guys as well, which aren't as good. Yeah. You know what? Let's try these guys out. We'll get 2 units of you. We've got some of these already. Let's go for... what do we have? 4 Deventite Spears, right. Let's get a few Nordics. We'll bolster out the units a little bit here in this army. And if we continue switching through, you guys can be upgraded. You're making your way towards Colonia Agrippa, that's fine. We'll move you up here. when we start fortifying some of these, like here for example, I think it will be a good spot for us to put a guardhouse. But once we start fortifying some of these, I'll be quite happy to move armies to other areas as needed. But for now, we'll stick to that. We'll give it to that as well. This can give me a capital building, just so we can get public order a bit more under control. I will get rid of this, because we can get money from other ways. We've got food coming in next turn. That will hopefully... We're already breaking even now with that. That is great news. Alright, let's make sure then we'll give you a few more units. We'll go for some more of those and one of those. And essentially this is what I'm going to do with every one of the armies. Oh, we can get Slingmen. Oh, that's not really interesting. Let's just grab 2 of you and 2 of you. In fact, yeah, we'll come back. We'll do that in a minute. Alright, another priest. You can be bolstered. I know this is the riveting gameplay you guys have all come to see. It's me just going around recruiting units everywhere, but it needs to be done. Anyway, priests. Now, remind me, what was your particular skills? You are a freed slave, uncompromising, improve with 0 and that across the board. And you're an orator, which gives extra public order on top of... which one is it? This one here. So, where is my... What in the immediate area is the most concerned for public order, apart from everywhere? Britannia Batica is all the way over here. Tripolitana, it has got some concerns right now. Mauritania. Right, for the moment then, I think I'm just going to keep the priests fairly close to home, because we're obviously going to take advantage of the fact that the priests can also convert our population, increasing the amount of the empire that follows Greco-Roman paganism, which will be able to get us our units much faster. So for the moment, I think my best bet is to just move these guys somewhere nearby. Think if I move you just up towards Aemilia Darnum for now, you will be a good choice there. We are still in the process, I believe, of upgrading Rome's Shrine of Jupiter, so that's going to take a little while. We might as well build that while we're here. I forget, because we've only had a couple of turns. Things are, still getting into the swing of realizing we haven't really done that much. Alright, Magna Graecia is this one here, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, we don't have a corruption thing. Why? We're going to have to level you up and you're Finscold. So you're not going to take a long way to actually get that. Bugger. Okay, that's fine. We're going to start moving you then over towards... Let's start moving you up towards Savaria. Hopefully you can get some experience going up against the Quadrians over here. And then over this side, let's have a look. We had a... Haha. We've got you here. Let's get you marching up towards the Suebians. Ideally, I would like to try and get rid of the Suebians, just because they are a strong army marching around in the very centre of my territory. All they need is for them to declare war on us, and then we've got a lot of territory that can be attacked. That's why I'm sort of chasing after them right now with this army here. Ultra Vectrix, just so we can try and eliminate them. But you can go and start misdirecting them. That will really slow them down for us. And then you... I got you marching over here for some reason. Can't remember why I asked you to do that. It doesn't really matter. You can stay here for now, actually, and just start working on the population for now. Now we've got 10,000. What else can we spend our money on? Right. My first concern is just double checking that everywhere's going to have a capital building for public order, and we're going to have more farms for food. You're actually doing okay for food, so what I might switch you out for is get a guardhouse. Extra security and all that. You're doing perfectly fine for that. You're doing positive. We've got food coming into Attila itself, thanks to demolishing the buildings. And things are being upgraded slowly but surely. That's great news. That's going to be built next turn. I think we're going to be okay for food, aren't we? We will be when this is done. So let me take the opportunity. Let's go guardhouse as a guardhouse. Let's take the opportunity to upgrade this a little then. Let's go for waterworks right away. Just try and help keep sanitation under control. Mediolanum. Do I want a rally field here? That's a good question. Let's upgrade that first. We'll get the capital building. Do I want the rally field? I mean, it could give me potential to go into auxiliary grounds, get our hands on some archers, skirmishers, spearmen and the like. Although I like the fact that it says we can recruit Nordic spearmen and we already can do that. So, maybe not worry about that right away. We'll take the opportunity for this though. I haven't got the money to upgrade anything newer. it could be tempting to go for, what was that, marble? Yeah, we could go for marble for the cheaper buildings and then switch it over to make more money eventually. But let's go and grab those building slots already. Otherwise, what else is there to do? I think we spent a lot of money anyway. I'm gonna check diplomacy every couple of turns just to make sure that we're getting trade coming in where we can. Again, non-aggression pacts ideally as well, whenever we can.
Do you the honor of listening to your...
So you were reluctant to. I mean, I could bribe them with money, but I don't want them to join us for that. I just want them to realise that doing so, to attack us is obviously going to be a big no-no. No one else is really worrying about us right away, so that's fine. I think we can safely end the turn. Oh, governors. Do I have money to do governors? I don't think I can right away. Because we did go through and start removing candidates, didn't we? Okay, so we can't hire you because we haven't paid for you yet. We can do these two. Okay. In that case, we're going to move you. Because what were you good at? You were research, a trader but a little boring. Okay. I'm going to move you into Insula Occidentis. So this is Macedonia, I was going to say Siberia. That's obviously not the case. But you can see on the map anyway. And then Flavius Notorious. What were you good at? Extra tax rate. We're going to move you into Magna Graecia, I believe. No, let's put you into Rome itself. Let's go into Attila. I'm sure you will help us out eventually. And then we just need to quickly do these. So for the moment, everywhere is just going to have an edict for increasing religious fever. The quicker we can get that done, the better. Ooh, we're going to have our first fight, guys. The Quadrians have come to attack us at Savaria. Now, we're still in the middle of replenishing, so our troops aren't going to be quite 100%. And we've still got a few casualties among the Celtic and Nordic spearmen. Now, how do we make up the garrison? Interesting. It's not going to be a walled settlement, but I have to admit, after playing so much Warhammer, Total War Warhammer, the idea of actually playing a smaller settlement like this, which is actually well designed, is kind of weird. But we're going to fight this battle anyway. We're going to fight it inside the walls, inside the settlement, take advantage of the roads inside in order to try and help funnel the enemy a bit, and we shall see how it goes. See you guys down there.
Noble defenders, listen to my words. We stand on the ramparts, ready to sell our lives dearly. If death is the price for victory, so be it. I hope that you live to celebrate victory with me.
Some inspiring words there by our general as we prepare to receive the Quadrian attack. Now, if I slow things down a little, just to remind you guys, something I've been doing with my more recent campaigns on the channel is when it comes to battles, actually find the battles separately from the campaign and then coming back and basically commentating on the replay. This allows me then to actually focus on what happens in the battle rather than getting sidetracked and distracted by talking and doing a commentary at the same time, which can make battles a little bit more difficult to say the least. But as you can see, it is a lovely day here in Savaria, and the army is prepared to receive the Quadrian assault. Now, what I've decided to do, and if I remember, I can show you on this cool tactical map, is that I've basically separated my army into 3 approaches. This road here, and essentially this road here. Now, what I've decided to do as well is I've put plenty of troops in to be able to come in and support the defense. I've put a unit of Steppe Levy over here in order to try and come around and essentially outflank from this side. And I've also got my equites hiding in a patch of woodlands here. Now, of course, there was a bit of a risk, as the enemy could have chosen to come down this path in order to try and outflank, but luckily for me, the AI didn't. They just decided to come into the town itself. No doubt they were distracted by the tower that's currently here and shooting at them as you get closer. Now, the enemy itself, if I come back now to the map, has decided to take a fairly broad approach. They've just marching straight into the settlement through the quickest route possible. You can see here the tower firing away at the units. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately, It would have been, if I had more towers nearby, I could have actually provided a bit of a defense here and allow the tower to actually shoot into the melee and cause extra damage. It's something that actually happens later on my right flank, but for this one, I thought it would be best to leave it and let the enemy funnel themselves into certain settlements. God, I need to practice more. In order to be able to attack my choke points rather than try and spread my troops out. So you can see the enemy is starting to make their way into the settlement itself. We've got a few coming in from this side, but thanks to the very obvious targets that my forces are presenting themselves, I don't have to worry so much about them trying to outflank. And that is very useful because I do have my equities, as I said, hidden in this very small patch of woods. Obviously, they're staying very, very still and the enemy has not noticed them. I did spot this opportunity to actually go after their missile troops fairly early on, but given that there isn't that much gap, and I'd rather wait for the enemy's army to split out a bit further in the settlement, I decided to keep my troops there for a little while longer. We've got the news now. Thank you, game. The tower has now been destroyed, so the enemy is going to start making their way now towards my line. Now, for the most part, with these two choke points here, I've got my troops in position already. I was meant to put these guys into, defensive testudo in order to give that defense against the warband, but I lost track, and so they just received the enemy's charge in general. Luckily, though, these guys are not very good when it comes to dealing with troops like this, and, well, those cohorts are really going to go to town with those javelins in a second, aren't they? Let's speed the game up a little. What happened over here, though, is that I did initially put this unit here in order to be able to throw what javelins and darts they could. They're doing a little dance right now. They don't remember doing that in the replays, but they are getting some hits in, but they have released their arrows and javelins. As soon as they did, I started pulling them back. I wanted to make sure that these guys can basically take a second shot in as well. And you can see maybe got hit by by a bit of friendly fire, but most of them managed to make it over. And these guys did not really have to worry too much about engaging these. We managed to get them safely through the line just before these guys came in and engaged. So we now have an counter assault. We've got these two units of cohorts holding this line. We've got units of Celtic and Nordic spearmen hiding over here just in case it's needed. My leader's here to be able to bolster what sides we need to. And the main assault has started over here in the centre. Now, originally it was just a unit of cohorts and steppe levy, but you can see that we've got quite a few units here that we're having to deal with. Luckily, though, these guys are actually going to hold on for a very long time. I was very proud of these guys. In comparison over here, the enemy is not, going to be able to do much better than I was hoping for. So already we're taking some few losses among this unit of combatants and spears. And as soon as I saw they were losing, I decided to start bringing in reinforcements from some of my other units. With the Lavis Armate here, what I decided to do is when I saw the enemy had basically committed themselves, I brought them, if I move back out a bit, my plan is to bring them around here, where you can already see my levy are moving into position in order to try and attack the enemy from the rear here. This plan is going to be to bring my skirmishers over here so they can shoot into the melee from behind and to do a ton of damage. Over on this side you can see now the equites have actually engaged in the enemy cav. I got one of these units to initially go after the unit of slingmen right here, but as soon as the enemy's levies here started making their way towards them, I pulled back and got them to all focus completely on these. As we can see now, one unit's already starting to run away, one of them is wavering, so I took the larger unit and taken them as an advantage to attack these enemy spearmen from the rear. Now, admittedly, charging cavalry into spearmen is not usually a good idea, but having a rear charge like this is pretty okay, and especially given the fact that levies are very low morale. So my plan was basically try and smash them whenever we could in order to do whatever damage we can. You can really see this unit's taking a ton of damage. I'm not entirely sure what from. It might have been just from the tower, but I don't know. But one unit now has started to retreat. This one now is able to try and continue the fight just in time for another charge from the equites, and that's going to be enough to bring them to break. What we're going to do then with these two units of cohorts is start moving forward to attack these units before they do any damage to the tower. We'll be able to support them with the equites in order to do extra damage as needed. And while they've been doing that, the other unit of Equites has been chasing after the enemy archers, We've only got one unit to rout completely with only 3 survivors, and the other one is going to be coming over here to finish these off. What's going to happen eventually is that my cohorts are going to engage with these units, and I'm going to swap out the Equites, so the ones fighting the archers here at the moment will be able to do the rear charges, and my other one over here will eventually come over here and provide what support they can. Now, the fight in the center here is going quite well. You can see that one unit of enemy cav already started to retreat. The others are still hanging on in there. Over here, my levies have now engaged the enemy in the rear. This is not going to do a lot, but it's going to affect their morale more than anything. And you can see we're bringing in more support already from other continental spears and the Celtic spearmen. Nordics have charged in as well, and I've moved my commander and his Palatina guard to provide rally to the troops as needed. Now, I was hoping my Secretary could have done more damage to these guys, but they weren't really being effective in shooting, so I got them firing over in order to try and come after these units here instead. And that turned out to be much more effective. Now at this point, the enemy's warband decided to come out from nowhere and attempt to attack my skirmishers, which did take a few casualties. But luckily my levies decided to come out and actually attack them, so that kept them engaged, and my skirmish was able to just keep firing into the rear of the enemy's force. We already got units starting to retreat and do things, and we get the news that the commander has been killed. So now this entire flank is now shattered and they're going to be retreating. Likewise over on this side you can see that enemies are starting to retreat and the cohorts chasing after them. And then we've only got the central part of the battlefield left to deal with. Like I said, these guys have managed to hang on for the entire battle, and I'm very happy with their performance. What I ended up doing then with the others though is I brought one unit of cohorts from the right flank as well as the Equites to come and attack over here. I'm also bringing in levies as well as the unit of skirmishers in order to attack the enemy from behind and do the same thing as we did before. But given now that army losses are going to be a major concern right now for them, you can already see now others are starting to waver one by one, and eventually as soon as one breaks, all of them start breaking. And with that, victory is mine. Now because of Total War games constantly vary whether or not your casualties, you need to chase down enemy casualties after the battle as one in order to kill them off, or the game simulates it. It varies depending on which game, and I can never remember which one's which. So I'm just going to spend the next 4 minutes on the timer chasing down every enemy unit I can get my hands on, mainly relying on my Equites to try and do the chasing down, as you can see here with these guys. But generally I'm also getting in units like my skirmishers over here to try and chase them down because of them being light-footed troops, very quick to move. And otherwise it's just going to be spent 4 minutes chasing down enemies. So with this guys, I think we can safely move on to the campaign map. So there we have it, a decisive victory for the Roman Empire, and first blood, I guess, to us, as this is the first battle of the campaign. Now, we were outnumbered over 1,000 men, but nevertheless we managed to win, although we did take some losses, 570 to be precise, just over a quarter of the defending army. But we didn't lose any full troops from the army here, and the garrison will be able to replenish as well, so in next turn, we maybe even be able to go on the offensive and maybe deal with Nitrara and eliminate the Quadrians. We'll just see how it goes. For now though, they are left with nothing but one unit of Germanic mounted warband that were able to escape fairly early on. So, what we're going to do with our captives? Well, we can get 421 gold, not really much use for that. We could take on the warriors, get 15% replenishment, or we could just kill them all. I think right now I would rather take the replenishment. And we can easily, if we need to, chase down that army in the following turn, wipe them out, and then be able to focus on going after their settlement then. And with that, it's back to my turn. So apart from that battle, the only other thing that happened was that the Franks have broken their non-aggression pact with us, but that's about it. You can see the Angles have also declared war on the Jutes, so you just see that, and we've now encountered African separatists. So presumably this means, oh, it's down here in Dimity. Interesting. So, pop through all this. Britannia's about to rebel, that's really not surprising, given that I'm just leaving them to their own devices. But yeah, we've now got Romans here in the Sahara. Admittedly, these are, separatists, they are people wanting to go their own way, but they didn't come from us, so I presume they had a rebellion that has managed to take over the settlement. Or something like that, anyway. Well, good luck to them. We might even be able to try and see if they're willing to negotiate with us. Apparently not. Why is that? Mainly because we're a great power. I really do hate that mechanic. Because to me it's the idea of thinking, well, you know, oh yes, I hate you because you're this big powerful empire who could easily wipe us out if you decided to do it. And we're going to hate you because of it and not want to pursue non-aggression, trade. We're not going to get on your bad side, essentially. We're just going to hate you for it. I know why it is a game of mechanic, but in terms of sort of like making sense to me, it just doesn't. Anyway, let's continue. First of all, I'm going to try and see if we can hinder this army. I think this guy has a trait that really increases the amount of movement reduction. Oh, critical failure. Oh my god. Well, never mind. That didn't work out. Well, let's get you continuing the march down. We could actually... What's the garrison like here in Avaricum? We do have a garrison encampment, so this will give me access to at least 5 extra units, as well as the garrison itself. So pretty decent. This could be an opportunity for us to actually go after the Subians. Yeah, they're going to have a lot of cavalry, a few melee units and ranged units, but I would say we could probably take them on. Especially if they're willing to... Oh, will they count though if I decide to... No, it wouldn't, would it? No, they're not. They're just outside of reinforcement range for the settlement. At least from the looks of it. Damn it. Alright, well. Let's move you down here for now. And yeah, you can actually see on the screen the reinforcement range, so we're just outside of it, so it's unfortunate. Oh well. Oh well. Oh, we need to smash that. Okay, what else do we need to do? Well, let's come over here and finish off the Quadrians. He needs to come out and just attack them like that. In fact, do I want to just leave them now? Because we could push on towards the settlements. Can we see what the garrison is? They've only got a couple of units in the garrison. We could easily go in, sack it, raise it, whatever.
Commander.
The only thing it would do is it would turn these into a horde. So we would want to chase after them and kill them off so we don't have to worry about them later. I mean, we could do both. I think we've just about got... I don't know if we have enough movement to go after them this turn. But we've got 12 units. Unless they recruit really, really fast in that second army, I think we've got a potential to be able to do it in this. So yeah, very easy battle. We're just going to go ahead and auto-resolve this one. Stab their faction leader in the head. Always a good... I presume that was the faction leader. You know what, it doesn't matter, I wasn't paying attention to even care enough. Right, so that's you dealt with. Okay, we are definitely outside of range, that is unfortunate. But we'll sit up here in the meantime. We've got the Bringers of Victory, the Vandals are nearby. Gordigital, right. Okay, what else do we have? You really needed to get some experience, so yeah, we're just going to move you up towards here. We'll try and get you to do something of use. Right, you... What was I going to do with you? We were moving you into Medialanum, so you can just head here for now. Insinius, Scapernius, Malonius. Right, you can increase public order. You, I'm a little concerned about this army right outside by Hadrimentum, so we're going to move you down and take up a position in there. We're doing okay for food. What's the issues in that and otherwise? Religious differences, there's not really much we can do about that. Okay, we could build a capital to help with this. We do have a guardhouse there. Fortunately, Constantino isn't really able to do much, but I will upgrade the garrison a little more just in case. We are going to try to hold on to Africa. I mean, it will have the potential to give us a fair bit of money. Not as much perhaps as the France and Italy itself, but still a fair bit. So we want to make sure we keep it as secure as we can. So we'll make sure to get that. How is some of the potential money makers looking? So we've already got now access to here and here, so we're could upgrade this to the governor's house. Just check our resources. We do need some more food. We've got 2 more turns into fishing jetties come into play, so we could just take advantage. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and do that right away. And what about here? A tabernae. with the right research, we could potentially look into doing something like wine markets, which give us a lot of money from commerce. A wine emporium will give us even more. We could go for food. This will give us extra just plain food from commerce, which will be quite useful. But I think with the ports and the farms available to us, I think we'll be able to make much more from going for wine eventually. We've got the full emporium. That doesn't give us as much, but it does give me bonuses to animal husbandry buildings. That could be useful, but I think we'll stick to where we are right now. So I'll spend some money on turn this into a tabernet. I'm aware now we've only got 433. So I think we can... Oh, level ups, of course. So this is my faction leader. He's now leveled up some points. So I'm going to go ahead and give him administrators just to increase his tax rates. We can go for integrity and authority using legatus. This is more of a gateway skill as far as I'm concerned. What I really want to do is make sure we focus down here. So this one will increase public order, this will decrease corruption, which is a major problem right now. I think if I remember right from my taxes, we've got like 55% corruption at the moment. So you consider that this is 9,000 right now. It's gone down a fair bit. But it's about 45% of what it could be if we didn't have as much corruption to deal with. But doing things like Vicarius would be quite useful. Overseer for cheaper food, like cheaper buildings, essentially. Fatigue rate and unit experience not so useful. Just plain extra food. And eventually move down to Via Illustrious for those extra bonuses, all of which will be quite useful. But this first one, Legatus, is not that useful for a governor. But it will do for now. Oh, you've picked up something. Cherries. Wear these, much harder for them to cut your hands off. Extra 5% armor for the commander's units. Useful. We will go for Relentless Attacker just for that bonus for our morale. And we will go for Legatus for him. Not only would it be more useful for us to try and increase maybe Cunning in order to eventually get our hands on night battles and lightning strike essentially, but also because it will be able to just increase, upkeep cost. Others give extra morale for the units. This one does extra damage. But this one overall I feel just does the best in terms of the commanded force. So Cannon is definitely the way we want to go. But we'll take in mind the character's individual things as well. He is respectful, for example. We could have actually made him a good governor, spreading the faith across the lands. But for now, it's fine. We also got our first tradition for Castellum. Interesting. This is essentially army skills. So we have two right away. We can go for Limitane, which is +2 integrity, which is this thing here, for in our own lands. Eventually going for public order. We can go for logistics, giving us slightly extra replenishments. And I think, given the fact that we are fighting a lot of sort of the Easterner factions, the Slavs, the Quadrians and things like that, I think it would be quite useful heading down towards barbarian subjugators. So we're going to grab both of these for our traditions. We can still do a governor, but I haven't got the money, I don't think. Unless we recruit you. What were you good at? I didn't want to because he's 61 years old, but we could use him in the meantime, I guess. Nah, wait until we can have a look and maybe recruit one of these. Got a merchant, for example. Marksman and 2 merchants. I think they would make much better options. So, let's hit intern again. Ooh, interesting. So the Quadrians have managed to recruit a whole bunch of units much more quickly than I expected them to, and have also come out to attack us with the garrison coming in as reinforcements. Right. The game still predicts it in our favour, but I think I will see about fighting this in order to try and, limit our casualties. But this is something I think we're going to do in the next episode. So again, fairly slow in terms of the turn speed, that we're only gone through 1 year now, but we've managed to find our first battle, we've won, we're in a position now to potentially wipe out a faction, one of our enemies, completely from the game, which is always good, and we're continuing to do well, I think, so far. I mean, it's very early days, but so far so good. So, let's finish it here for today. Thank you for watching today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed it, and you do join me next time for some more Attila. But until then, everybody, take care, and goodbye for now.